This week we're diving into a more familiar deck of mine, that being Yubel. Originally released in the Phantom Darkness, it was considered to be a mediocre anime deck on release, and stayed in that position until the support in Phantom Nightmare, a core set released in 2024, which introduced more support for the deck and for the first time made it a relevant threat in the metagame. The additional support, in the form of the Fiendsmith engine, released in the Infinite Forbidden, made it an even bigger threat. The deck was so good because the board it produced going first was nearly unbreakable. Yubel got multiple top spots throughout 2024 and even won Worlds. Piloted by Ruben Panaranda, a North American player who qualified for the tournament via the Worlds qualifying points playoff at the NAWCQ. Okay, so for the deck profile, I played one Yubel and one Spirit of Yubel. Spirit is great because when it's destroyed, it summons a Yubel from anywhere. It can also special summon itself when your opponent declares an attack, and when it's summoned, it lets you add or set a spell trap from your deck that mentions Yubel. Most of the time, you'll want to set Nightmare Bane, which is a continuous spell that once per turn lets you destroy a dark monster to add a Yubel or card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. While you control Yubel, your opponent's monsters must attack Yubel monsters, and they'll take any battle damage you would have taken from those battles. Now, that might sound a little weird, since all the Yubel monsters prevent you from taking any battle damage. But the effect that redirects damage happens before the no damage effects from your Yubel monsters kick in. For the Yubel evolutions, I played a Terror Incarnate, which you can summon off of the original Yubel, or sometimes through a Nightmare Throne. For the normal summons, I played 3 Samsara the Lotus. This card tributes itself to summon a Yubel monster from the deck. If you already control a Yubel, it can tribute itself during your opponent's turn to change the effect of one of their monsters to destroy a Yubel on the field. Plus, if it's in your grave during the end phase and you control a Yubel, you can either add it back to your hand or special summon it. And another normal summon is the Dark Beckoning Beast, a level 2 Dark Fiend with the 0/0 stats, which on summon searches for a spell that mentions any of the Sacred Beasts, which in this deck usually is Opening of the Spirit Gates. Opening of the Spirit Gates is a continuous spell that on activation searches for a Sacred Beast or a monster that mentions them. It also lets you discard a card to special summon a 0/0 monster from the grave. And if you control a level 10, you can add a continuous spell from your grave to your hand. As an extender, I played one Gruesome Gravesquirmer, which, if you control a Fiend monster, can special summon itself from the hand, and then destroy a Yubel or card that mentions Yubel from the field, and from the graveyard can banish itself to reborn a 0/0 Fiend monster. I also ran a small Unchained engine with one Unchained Soul of Sharvara, which I covered in my last video, and one Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, which is a normal trap that special summons an Unchained monster from the grave. I used to play Escape, but it felt like a dead card more often than not, because you don't usually end on an Unchained monster on the board. So I decided to cut it. Lastly, I played a mini Fiendsmith engine consisting of 3 Engraver, 1 Lacrima, 1 Fabled Lurie, and 1 Fiendsmith Tract. I considered playing the Fiendsmith in Paradise, and I did so in the first week, but with the extra deck being as tight as it is, it's hard to justify running that right now. For the engine spells, I ran 3 Nightmare Throne and 1 Terraforming to maximize my field spell consistency, and to round out the deck in terms of engine, I played a 1-for-1, which helps summon things like Samsara the Lotus, or even bridge into a Fiendsmith line by summoning the Fabled Lurie. For the non-engine, I ran a full suite of hand traps, those being 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Nibiru, 3 Troll Unlock, 3 Phantasme, and 2 Ghost Mourner. And to round up the deck, I played 1 Call by the Grave, which gave us a total of a 42 card main deck in the latest version, which honestly was fine like I said, the inclusions that I played before, like the Escape or the Fiendsman in Paradise, were just unnecessary cards to add. For the extra deck, I played one Phantom of Yubel, one Necroquip Princess, one Aerial Eater, one Fiendsmith Desiree, the two Unchained Links, the standard Fiendsmith Links, an SP and a Mudcracker. I played 3 Xyz, those being High Wave King Caesar, Eva Rudras, and a Typhon. And to round it up, I played a Chaos Angel. And honestly, the side deck is pretty similar to last videos, with just a couple changes. I added a Resonator, because you can play that in this deck. And I played Book of Eclipse to more so focus on countering Raziel. As with the results of YCS Orlando, I think that Raziel is the better deck in the format right now, and I want to be able to take this list to bigger events than my local game store. The deck felt pretty good overall. There are not many things that I'd like to change, so yeah, I would definitely play this list for a little while longer. Yeah, to figure out what else it can do. This week, I wanted to introduce something new and talk about my matchups a little bit more in depth, or for at least the ones that I could film. So, for the first week of doing this, I figured I'd introduce you guys to Speedroids. We have a couple of very dedicated Speedroid players at our locals, and if you're not sure how the deck works, don't worry, I don't either. It can be a very scary deck to play against, especially since the deck got new support in Supreme Darkness. So for the first game, I lost the dice roll, and the Speedroid player decides to go first and do Speedroid stuff. And I have seen him do like multiple of these combos before, so I have a slight understanding of what he's doing, but not that much. He gets to a point where he makes the link to the high Speedroid rubber band shooter, and I decide to activate the Phantasma in my hand, and then he decides to activate the rubber shooter to add a card to his hand, which is met with a Drawn Lockbird from my side. As you can see in the deck profile, there was a lot of room for non-engine, which against a deck like this is amazing. But yeah, I let him combo off a little more until he gets to a point where he's able to go for like actual synchro plays, and as I found that to be slightly scary, since he can make stuff like Crystal Wing, since he can make stuff like Clear Wing as well, which doesn't sound all too scary in this time, but can still be very scary in like more simplified game states. I decided to simply activate Nibiru. Summoning the token in defense, which in hindsight may have been not the correct play. He passes to my turn, and I start things off with Attract, adding the Lurie, discarding it, blah blah blah, Fiendsmith stuff, yada yada. I activated Engraver, realizing that I didn't have a legal target in deck, but later realized that I was still playing the Fiendsman in Paradise in this match and should have added that. I summoned Engraver and made Necroquip and then synced them off into Chaos Angel. And I thought at that point that I didn't have any ways to extend. But in hindsight I did, because you can, I could have linked 2 of them off for Moon, and then make, with Moon and the last monster on the field, make a sequence fusion for Aerial Eater, Dumb Spirit, make Mudcracker, blah 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 blah, do all that stuff. I did, however, make SP and paused, like SP Banish Token and paused. This made game 1, instead of ending there and then, lost a significant amount of time that I did not have, even though on a follow-up turn. So to conclude this video, I think that Yubel still is very good. It has proven to be still very good with its performance back in YCS Birmingham in the past weekend, as of time of recording and as of time of uploading this video. So yeah, I think Yubel's still a very decent pick. I think it takes a very skilled pilot, and it was a lot of fun to play this deck again. I had a lot of fun when this deck first came out, and I still had a lot of fun to play it now, even though my gameplay was maybe not that great. My plans for next week, or for next time, I think I'm gonna play Ryzeal, and I hope that the next video that comes out will in fact be the Ryzeal video. Expect that video to be out in 2 weeks. If you want to see more like this, if you have suggestions about what I should play, please let me know in the comments. And with that being said, I wish you all a good day, and I see you all next time.